Hello and welcome to Quit or Continue, the video games podcast that pokes a finger in the eye of the games that waste your time. I, as ever, am Mike Plant. This is Andy Loughlin.
Hello.
This is Jack Turner.
Hello.
And this is Dave Whiteman.
Hello.
Every couple of weeks we get together to discuss one game and one game only. To get a continue, a game must get 3 of us to actually say it's alright. Otherwise, it's a quit. If it gets 4, which only happens very bloody rarely, then it's worth your time, basically.
It's removed from existence if that happens. Every trace of it is destroyed.
It's too perfect. Too perfect.
Yeah.
That's why The Last of Us no longer exists. Only we know about it.
We don't even know what that is.
That was our fault. Sorry.
Yeah, it's too good. And yeah.
Anyway, the most important thing is next time around, if you're listening to this, you can join us. This is a book club or a games club, after all. And if you buy the same game, which will be revealed to what we're doing next at the end of this very show, then you can tweet us at Quit or Continue and tell us your thoughts, and we will read them out if you're so lucky to be included in the show.
Lucky.
Lucky
lads and girls.
And I should also point out you can watch us in action right now. Well, not right now, but whatever, on YouTube at youtube.com/Quit or Continue Games. So, shall we start with what we're doing?
Go on then.
No mystery here, it's actually on the table in front of us.
Yeah. If you had any illusions, it's there. So, Dave.
Bloodborne.
Oh, I'm explaining it, am I?
So we've had this thing where basically Dave has got marginally further than the rest of us.
Well, I started it before everyone. I started Bloodborne weeks and weeks ago.
Many moons ago.
You bought it first, I think.
I did buy it first.
So
and I paid top dollar for it as well. And it was also, when it was talked about a while ago, before it actually came out, I was not interested in the slightest in it. I thought this is kind of one of those games that doesn't really interest me in any way. I was more interested actually in the order when that first looked in. And look where that got
Dave,
us.
you should listen to the podcast.
I did. After I listened to our podcast, I thought I'm not going to play that. But yeah, no. So yeah, it didn't really interest me, and it appears to have got quite a lot of. It's got quite a lot of fans. Or certainly, the Dark Souls series seem to have a bit of a fan following. And actually, you've played the.
I played them all. Demon's Souls, Dark Souls 2.
So it's a PS4 exclusive, isn't it? And it's kind of it's an action game, but it's not quite an action game. But it's from Software, they've done all.
It's from Software.
From Software.
That is the most annoying name as well.
Yeah.
From Software is really
by
great.
From Software.
Yeah.
Even that sounds weird, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think the last game they made, other than the Dark Souls series, was that bloody, what's it called, like the Mech Warrior game. I can't remember what the name of it was now, but it was on Xbox 360. It was the Kinect-only game, and you had to control all of the cockpit and everything with your gestures.
Let me guess, it didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't work. It was really fucking. It looked like the best idea for a game ever, because you were literally like, oh, it's the emergency stop thing. You'll press this, and you'll press that button, and woo. It's amazing.
Just as a side,
you even I think to see through the hatch as if you're in a tank almost. You had to get up and kind of do that, and then it'd zoom in. But it never worked.
Yeah. Just imagine these guys in their parenting style. The poor child is being forced to jump through a number of hoops just to get an evening meal. It's like, no, you haven't upgraded enough to get an evening meal, guys. Sorry.
Do you know what? I was so excited when the Kinect was first advertised. I'm sure a lot of people were. Just when they did all the demos, I thought, that looks brilliant. That's a real game changer.
It all ended for me when they had Star Wars Kinect, and all you could do was that. Or jump.
Yeah.
And that was the whole crouch. That was the whole game.
Well, actually, I've been playing my PS Move a little bit recently, which is still unsported and not great. But
on the PS4, you mean?
No, the PS3. But it's actually really good. In terms of motion control stuff, it is definitely the best one out of Kinect. The Wii was obviously a bollocks. No. Have you played?
You've been playing the sport.
I played it on Killzone. It was awful.
Oh, I didn't use it on any stuff. Things like the sports stuff. Like when you're doing the table tennis, I think, fucking hell, that's.
It's pretty accurate because you can see the game actually moving when you do that with your hand.
Just
a tennis racket, as it were. Just
to check, it is 2015, isn't it? We're discussing all the hot scoops on
Bloodborne. You can use PS Move.
There's this thing called the PS Move.
Bloodborne has no motion gestures at all. But let's talk about it for an hour.
just thought, in comparison to Kinect, I thought it went a little bit under the radar in comparison to Kinect, because Kinect was...
Sony have a history, they never back their stuff. Like, the Vita is a good example of that. They just never, ever, like, get everything behind it and go, well, apart from the PS4 now, obviously, because like, it's a success. But they brought out, so, like, the PSI and the PS Move, and now the Project Morpheus thing will be the same. It's just they have a history of, like, not really supporting this.
I'll tell you what they have promoted.
I've got a Wonder Book in this bloody cupboard as well.
I'll tell you what they have promoted.
Wonder Book,
I'll tell you what they have promoted. Bloodborne.
Yes. Let's bring us back to the room.
Let me just say, like, so if I didn't know better, if I'd not played Dark Souls, and I was like a guy, maybe I knew about PlayStation, I knew about Devil May Cry series and these kind of action games, I would look at Bloodborne and think it was one of them games.
Yeah.
Where, it's pretty easy, you're blazing through, you're indestructible almost, because you're Dante or whatever.
That's actually one of the things that put me off the game as well, because I'm not really into those games, just sort of hack and slash action
like
games,
a Bayonetta type thing.
That's not like it's not something I really play all that often. I don't even know why I bought it, to be honest. I think I bought
That's
it.
the only thing to buy on PlayStation.
That was it. I think I was so excited by the fact that it was a well-received. At the time, it was a well-received PlayStation exclusive. So I thought, what, I've got to try it. I've got to give it a go because, why not?
So shall we actually say what it is? We seem to.
Okay, go on. What is it? Yeah.
So it's an action game, but it's got the kind of the Souls.
So it's basically an absolutely difficult, like insanely difficult game.
Mix of RPG with action elements in this world, which seems to have just all gone
to hell.
To
a bit
hell.
like Bioshock, really. Everyone's kind of been cursed by, in that it's magic, and this it's kind of blood.
Everyone is really angry. It's like being at a station when commuters are annoyed. It's that feeling of everyone wants to rip each other's heads off and then shit in each other.
I think the idea is that there's a load of hunters, and they're out trying to kill beasts, but they're also turning into beasts and they don't realise it.
Yeah.
And then the beasts are fully flung beasts, so they're kind of like werewolves. What I would kind of like to have seen, it never happens actually, is them two to fight each other sometimes, but you never get an encounter where there's nothing that wants to kill each other, it always wants to kill you, basically.
But you played most of it and you've got pretty much no idea what the story is.
I don't have a clue.
And that's not an insult, by the way.
No, not at all. Well, there's a lot of, again, I was trying to do a bit of research today. And there's people, I know. Well, I'm professional, guys.
Don't show us up.
A couple of hours before we do the podcast, did a bit of research. But there's videos being made of the lore of Bloodborne and stuff like that. So I reckon it's probably something that does go over a lot of people's heads.
It's Lovecraftian. It's that kind of intangible. There's this kind of devilment around it. There's this kind of palpable sense of there's something there that's not quite human, and if you beheld it, you would probably die from fear or something. It's that kind of a
but I think that talking about that kind of stuff is going to be very off-putting for a lot of people. Just because it's a bit nerdy.
Ultimately, you slash stuff and blood comes out of it. It looks cool.
That's pretty much it. I mean, the sort of story. I must have put in maybe 20 hours before I even thought to myself, I don't even know what's going on here. But I genuinely didn't care. I just didn't care. It's not really the thing.
The story is all told through the environment, isn't it? And there's no 5-minute cutscenes where they're explaining and there's exposition, that kind of thing. It's just literally, you're in this world, there's these things you've got to kill, go and kill them, and then maybe along the way you'll see a few clues as to what's going on.
That does make it pretty much unique as a game. Well, currently, in the fact that you have to discover...
For an action game, it's a bit like there's Gone Home and stuff, which has got that similar kind of idea of story. But sorry, I shouldn't have interrupted you.
No, it's like there's no real kind of hand-holding whatsoever. Well, let's face it, there's no hand-holding at all, which we'll probably come to in a bit. But I think the sense where... I mean, you've played a lot more than I have, but in a sense where you've got this little discovery, which I think is really nice. You feel like you're kind of wandering around, finding, oh, look, there's someone here, and you smash barrels and stuff out the way, and suddenly there's a little passageway, and suddenly you find some person. And that sense of kind of, I suppose, the RPG element to it, where, it's a bit of a, I hate using this word, but like a sandbox, I suppose, really. But, it's more of a kind of a feeling that you can actually play your own way, which does have drawbacks, but there is a real sense of kind of this is a world where you go and discover it as you want.
I think, there's this weird way of it that there's no real system to it. I mean, we were talking we've all struggled with just how to level up. You were struggling to even work out because you've not played a Dark Souls game.
No.
And I had the exact same experience actually on Dark Souls 2. It's even more bizarre how you level up on that game than it is in Bloodborne. There's literally a character that I never spoke to because I just didn't even know she was there. She's round the corner of this thing, and if you don't speak to her, you can never level up. So I was like running around for ages going, what's going on in here?
Well, actually, it even took me a while after you die from the first. So when you first play the game, you start off with literally nothing, no weapons or anything like that, and you come across a werewolf. And realistically, if you try and fight the werewolf, you don't have to fight it; you'll die. And so you then go back to the Hunter's Dream, which is basically your area where you do the leveling up, getting your weapons.
Hub, isn't it?
The hub, the hub to like buying all the things you need.
It's the only safe point in the game, basically.
Yeah,
really
that's it. The tranquility of the Hunter's Dream. Yeah. But anyway, so you go back to that point, and even after, so you got little tips. There's notes on the floor that you can kind of read to say, oh, this is how you jump, or this is how you dodge, or all that kind of stuff. And even after you've collected the weapons and done everything, I was wandering around the Hunter's Dream going, right, how do I get to the game then?
Yeah.
How do I do this? And it took me ages before I realised, where to go and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's that's certainly the opening stuff. I think where I'm so used to games where there's basically a tutorial level, I mean, you just do not get that whatsoever.
We should do a quick continue tutorial then. So basically there are blood vials that give you health.
Yeah.
And then there are blood echoes that let you level up. When you've got enough of them, you have to go into the Hunter's Dream, talk to some woman in there, the doll.
So you get those by killing enemies.
Even talking about it just shows how bizarre.
Right. Okay. So every time you kill someone, you get some blood echoes. If you die before going back to the Hunter's Dream, you lose all your blood echoes.
But if you get back to that point again without dying, you can pick up your blood echoes, or else kill the guy who's took them.
Yeah,
and they got like the glowing eyes, haven't they?
Which is brilliant. That's a new thing.
Do you know what? Even when we talk about this, I feel like we sound like slowed down, excitable children trying to explain something they've done in their day they're really excited by. Because like, I don't think it just sounds mental. Like even I didn't even think about the whole. Yeah, you can go back and pick up your puddle of blood.
But that's been a thing since Demon's Souls. It's always been that thing where you can get your experience back by going and picking up where your character died.
Because I remember I came to the game later than you all guys, and then you were like emailing around talking about this and that and the other. I was just reading the emails going, what the hell are you on about?
So
you sound like you've gone mental.
Perfect example being how you summon people into the game. So you have to get a bell called the small resonant bell.
No, it's the beckoning bell.
The beckoning. Oh yeah, so that's how you get into other people's games, isn't it? Yeah, so you need the beckoning bell to call people into your game, but only if you've got insight. Don't forget about the insight.
Insight. I understand how insight works within the game, but I didn't really understand the point. Not the point. That's bad. But like, I get the sort of concept of killing something, you get the blood echoes. I get that concept, but insight, I didn't understand why you get insight and why that's a spending on a certain different thing. I mean, it kind of makes sense playing the game. It kind of makes sense playing the game when you use it and the way you use it and stuff like that. But I think I didn't really understand. Like when insight started clocking up, I thought
I've got a lot of it.
So I think you get insight. So insight is the thing that allows you to let other players into your game. Yeah. So these are real life players.
Or you can use it in like a separate shop in the Hunter's
Yeah,
Dream
that's
and
true.
Get more shizzle.
But the way you get the insight. So insight is a finite resource. And the way you get it, I think, is by seeing major events in the game. So if you come across a boss,
or you can consume madman.
So you find this madman's knowledge, which you can consume. But
or old one's knowledge sometimes.
Oh really?
Oh yeah.
See, I'm not
something wisdom. Great one's wisdom.
Insight, great one's wisdom.
Yeah.
My God, this game is dense, and I don't mean that in a dumb way. I mean it's actually literally like mentally layered.
I think. It would probably be really... If you sat someone down right now and you said, right, okay, there's blood echoes, blood vials, there's insight, you've got to do this and do that, I think it would be really off-putting.
Yeah. And I think that comes down to the real thing about this game is, I think there's obviously quite a lot of positivity, but if you pick this game up, like say someone bought it for you in Tesco and said, hey, I've got your PS4 game, this is going to be great.
Here you go, Johnny.
And you basically thought, why do you hate me, this person who bought this game? Because this is awful. I've died instantly pretty much everywhere. You know, there's this bit where you go through the first bit with the there's a kind of a street in the Yarnum.
Yeah.
Yarnum, is it?
Yeah.
And you're really underpowered, obviously, and there's just blokes everywhere. A load of blokes. It's always blokes. Wandering about, blokes everywhere.
It's not always blokes. There are a lot of deadly women.
But
in
just in video
yeah.
games in generally, it's usually blokes, isn't it? Just groups of blokes, angry blokes, and like you go in and it's kind of like get to the end. And I got through all that the first time, killed everybody, got down to the sewers. Someone bashed me in the back of the head, and then everything resets. So back to the start, and you're just like, why is this fun again?
Yeah. But then it is fun because you learn the patterns, you learn how to do that bit really easily. And then there's always this, because you realise you've got a lot of blood echoes, but you can't level up because you're not in the hunter's dream. And it's hard to get back to that sometimes. So then you're left with this kind of catch-22. Do I go further forward? Do I run backwards? What the hell do I do? You actually get quite nervous.
But you almost need a support network, don't you? You need people to go, look, keep going. You guys were saying to me, like, look, keep going, do this, do that.
You can do it, Andy.
Come on, you can
Come on,
Andy. We believe in you.
Do you not feel like that's one of... Oh, well, I think that's one of the game's biggest successes was the whole support network behind it, and actually probably one of the things that's pushed it to become more of a hit, as it were, than it is.
It's got a lot of people talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what? As soon as I started playing the game, I knew how hard the game was going to be. Like, everyone had talked about how difficult it was going to be. So as soon as I started playing the game, I was instantly terrified of anything I came across in the game. So I thought, I don't want to die, I don't want to die. And you just have to get used to it. You're going to die. You're going to die an awful lot. But as soon as I played that in the first evening, the next day, I was just on my phone, like, looking up stuff and like, where do I go next? How do I do this? And
it never ends, does it? There's so much stuff in the game.
There's so much stuff, and the amount of guides and things like that, and just stuff that you do. And even now, like, I saw a video today of stuff that basically I felt like I hadn't even played the game because I saw a video of stuff that basically I'd missed out. But you know, I just think the idea of the support network and stuff like that is just such a huge thing within Bloodborne. The fact that you can summon people to help you out, that's the idea. It's not you've got a co-op player, just you get your mate to join in. You summon someone saying, I'm stuck on this bit, come and help me. There was a real there's a real thing, like the way they do that within the game that I think is actually brilliant. Really I don't know, it really keeps you going, makes you think you can try a bit harder, it makes you think you can go a bit further, learn a little bit more. That I think it's just so well done.
All right, well, we'll come into part 2. We're going to talk about all the good stuff in a minute. So let's come back in a mo. All right.